Hello, welcome to Top Decks Top Tables. This is a series where I will take a winning or topping deck list from a high tier Yu-Gi-Oh event and see if I can replicate that deck success at the local level. So here for this episode, we have Wilfredo Flores' Orcust Fiendsmith deck that won the North American World Championship qualifier this past weekend. If you get a chance, watch some of the matches that he played, both the top four match that he played against Gem Knight and the finals he played against Malice, so to show that having good understanding of the game and having confidence in your deck can certainly bring you far in a strategy that people weren't really anticipating to be first place at this event. The other interesting thing about this deck, if you may or may not know, the set that the new support came out in, both the two new Link monsters that we're going to show off during the profile, is North American exclusive right now because the set Battles Legend that came out in June that had these cards had to be recalled in Europe, and it's not out until the end of August. So when you watch the European Championship in a week, it's not going to have this deck. So that's why I think it's very interesting to be able to play as a North American player. So we're going to get into the deck super quick. I'm not going to give sort of explanations. It's not my deck list, so I'm not going to explain sort of the theory behind it unless there's something that I think really sticks out. But yeah, let's get into it. So for the Orcust side of the engine, you have the 3 Girsu, 3 Harpour, 2 Symbol Skeleton, World Crown. Read this card. If you watch the finals, you'll know why. Then you play the 1 Orchestrated Babel, the Foolish Burial, which I count as an Orcust engine because you're dumping Harpour or Symbol Skeleton and going off from there. And then the 1 Crescendo, which is your Omni Negate. Especially with the new support, you're able to get both these set up instead of having to choose, which is very powerful. Then to supplement, you have the Fiendsmith engine. You just have to be careful because a lot of the Orcust cards will lock you to dark. So if you're going to sort of do both combos, you have to do Fiendsmith first. So yeah, that's 3 Engraver, a Lacrima, a Lurie, 2 Tract, and a Fiendsmith in Paradise. So pretty self-explanatory for a Fiendsmith package. Not playing the Sanct, I assume, because this deck doesn't really care as much for Joel and Lockbird as some of the other decks in the format. Then for the non-engine, you have your 3 Fulos, your 3 Perulias, your 3 Ash to beat Molcharmies, your 3 Droll, because Mitsu Raziel is very scary, 2 Nibiru, which I completely agree with this. I also played 2 Nibiru in my Blue Eyes list that I played for the NAWCQ. Check out my last video if you're curious about that. 3 Bestials, so just 1 Baldric, 1 Jerusalem, 1 Magnemite, which again, Mitsurugi. 3 Forbidden Droplet. Watch the top 4 match that Wilfredo played against Gem Knight, and you'll see why this card was so good for him. And then the Singular Call by the Grave for a 41 card main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, you have your Galatea I, North American exclusive, as I explained before. You have your Galatea, Lung Girsu, and your Endling Girsu, which also North American exclusive. And then Ding Girsu to round out the Orcust part of the extra deck. Then for generic links, you've got your IP Masquerena and your SP Little Knight. Then that goes for your Fiendsmith package, Moon of Close Heaven, Requiem, Sequence, Agnum Day, Necroquip Princess, Fiendsmith Desiree, DD Wave Viking Caesar, and Chaos Angel to round it out. So pretty dominant, heavy Fiendsmith package in the extra deck, but it gives you everything you need to do. Then lastly, for the side deck, keep in mind again, this is 1 for 1 from Wilfredo's list, so I don't have 100% on what the justification for everything is. 3 Lancia, pretty self-explanatory for Malice. 2 more Bestials with the Baldrake. You have 3 Mistaken Arrest, which for a deck that doesn't really search, or all your searches are done after turn 1, pretty crazy. 2 Thrust, 3 Imperm, and then the Thrust targets being Mischief of the Gnomes and Dimensional Barrier. So that's the profile. Next, we're going to see how it does at locals today. So I won my first 2 rounds, so we're going to play some of the excerpts from the last 2 because they're a lot more interesting. I'm playing against Mitsurugi Orcust, so kind of a mirror match. My hand is garbage. I start tracked, My opponent ashes it, and the rest of my hand's like Engraver, Crown, Droplet, Tracked. So I just set the Droplet and I pass. I could have Engravered to get the trap in hand, but he normals Girsu. I'm like, I have to come off Orcust Engine, so I do that. And then he links a Galtae Eye, and then discards Symbol to search a Babel. So at that point, like he activates Babel, he symbols for the Girsu, and at that point I just know that I'm cooked. Thanks to people dropping and ties and stuff like that, I'm playing it's the same Mitsurugi Orcust player in round 4. So I normal Girsu, I summon tokens, and then I'm not thinking at all. I link off the Girsu for the Galtae Eye. I realize my mistake, and I have to like Magnamut the Girsu to essentially continue my play. So I Magnamut it, effect, I go Moon, Requiem, Lacrima, Engraver. I summon Necroquip because I have another Engraver in hand. So I go Engraver, search Tracked. I get my Necroquip draw, and then I try to put back the Moon for Engraver, and I get Druiswyrmed, so the Engraver gets banished. So I banish the Harpor, summon another Girsu from deck. Then I link those off for Galtae. I then shuffle back the Harp to set Crescendo. We symbol to bring back the Girsu. I make a ding, attach a symbol. I link the token and the ding into an IP. I summon Whirlcrowd from hand. I set a D barrier and I pass the turn, adding the Voldrake off Magnamut. Draw phase, because of Babel, I can quick effect summon the Galtae Eye. He goes into SP, targets the Crescendo, and then the Druids target the Crown. So I chain IP to summon Enlin Girsu, so Crescendo's banished. He then goes Mitsurugi Prayer, adding the Murakumo. Telling me that he's going to like Ritual Summon it from hand. Then he goes Ritual Summon from hand. We chain D-Barrier, call Ritual, and we have it from there. So overall, how do we do at locals? I showed you 2 matches where in round 3, that was game 2. I lost game 1 and then I lost game 2 as well. And that round 4, that was just the game 2. So we won that one, we lost the game 1, and then time of the round was called the beginning of our game 3. So overall, we went 2-1-1. But again, like I mentioned, like there's a lot of drops, a lot of ties. We ended up still getting 2nd place, which overall isn't bad for my first time playing Orcust. Like I never played it during TOS, so like a lot of the stuff I like am vaguely aware, but we got it. So I'm gonna give some pros, I'm gonna give some cons, and I'm gonna give like my overall recommendation of if this deck is worth checking out. So pros, Fiendsmith Engine is like incredibly versatile. Like the fact that we were going off it for a while like felt kind of weird, but I think it plays really well into a lot of things. I think it demands a lot of interaction from your opponent, and then if they interact with this stuff, then you just make your Orcust plays. Other pro, I think, especially with Girsu, the fact that you can sort of go Fiendsmith first before you're Dark Locked is fantastic. The fact, like, this card is crazy with Galtae Eye. If you do it properly and don't use this to make the Galtae Eye instead of using the token. The last pro, like, Orcust itself, like, the back row is like fantastic. Babel is such a unique effect to make your things quick effects. So like you can get to points where it's like, oh, you don't have a symbol skeleton engraved, but I do have a Harpor, so it can like quick effect, banish the Harp, summon Girsu, and then Girsu dump the symbol, and then suddenly your Ding Girsu's like live to summon back again because the symbol's this quick effect. And then Crescendo just being like in an archetype, like you can set this off Galatea. And like especially with Galtae Eye, you don't need to worry about like picking which one you want from here. You get both. So very good deck in that regard. The cons, it plays into the same side deck hate that Malice does in terms of like the Artifact Lancias. If people are playing stuff like Chaos Hunter, like it really limits your plays. Like that's where Fiendsmith can kind of help, but like, you know, you're still like everyone has like essentially side deck slots dedicated to you. And then also people are playing Bystial for Mitsurugi, it also hits you pretty bad. So like you kind of get like that like overlap of side deck cards that are hating against your deck without your opponent even like preparing for this deck, which to be honest feels kind of bad. And then lastly, like this is not a deck that plays well under Fulos, and especially at the locals level, like Fulos is the one that you're gonna see, you know, like the guy in the mat right here, like it's the budget one, it's the one that everyone pretty much is guaranteed to have. So Like, you just got to consider that if you're taking this deck. But overall, my thoughts on the deck are, like, I think it's worth playing. I think it's worth trying out. Even though, like, I managed to scrape second when I probably shouldn't have. Like, it still was interesting, cooked me out of my comfort zone. It was, like, it's very cheap to build if you have the Fiendsmith engine already. Like, you can make some substitutions for the Perulia in the list for sure, but, like, it's the Endling Gearsu and the Galate Eye are the only card. They're one-ofs, and, like, the two together are, like, $25 at most. So definitely affordable, and the rest of the Orcust engine is, like, pennies, because it just got reprinted, and they all have pretty cheap prints, too. So that's all I have for this video. If you want to see certain, like, topping deck list, like, me make a video like this, just let me know. Like, tell me what event it topped and where I can find the deck list. Like, YGO Pro Deck is, like, the best resource for that types of things. And I'll be sure to check it out and, like, make another video with it. So that's all I have for this one, and I'll see everyone in the next video.